Hey, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. Say that by honor to our apostles, to our elders who rule well, which are of GMS. And our blessed salutation to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth sincerity. Yeah, I just wanted to go, just meditating on these, factory fires. There's one in California that happened, a couple weeks back, one in Ontario, Canada, and it definitely brings up to mind, the thought of Ecclesiastes. So it says, Ecclesiastes 12:3 says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And that grinding ceases, the jobs becoming not as prevalent, and we ain't talking about your McDonald's and all that, because these factory jobs is being taken over by AI. All right. And not only that, but they're constantly building data centers. They're about to build a new Google data center out here in Nebraska. And they said that motherfucker it's going to take so much energy. It's going to take a small town where it takes a power. You know what I'm saying? The size of Lincoln, that's how much power it's going to take for that place to be powered up. All right, which is carbon emissions, CO2 emissions that they swear that the trees and the cloud forts are taking up, and it just omit the fact that these data centers and these jets and airplanes and 18-wheelers aren't having a big major cause on it. But they never want to admit that because it goes against the mass production. Okay, and this is what's causing a lot of affliction on people financially because of the financial greed, the corporate greed. Okay, and we're going to pull out an example of that via article. All right, it says on Yahoo. This came out on the 15th, I believe, yesterday. It says Amazon worker dies on warehouse floor in Oregon. Workers were told to keep going as bodies stayed put. A worker collapsed and died on the floor of an Amazon warehouse in Truthdale, Oregon on April 6th. And for more than an hour, employees say they were told to keep loading trucks as the body lay nearby. And this is the type of society that we're in, that there's so much consumer distribution usage that you can't even stop to show empathy towards people, man. And that's why people are starting to burn down buildings. It's speculated that the toilet paper building was burned down, had housed only 20 workers, and was using robots to do the bulk of the work, and only paying the people $30 in California, which is it's pretty much like $17 out here, anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Which is not enough, all right? Because on top of that corporate greed, they turned around and used women's liberation to tax the two-home household. So now you got to make at least a double portion to make ends meet. All right, because they don't want you to live the American dream. There is no American dream. It's an American illusion, because they got the dream. They hurry up and snatched it up. They hurry up and got their companies, established their companies. Now they need you to be highly educated so you can be a higher level consumer, or be a slave to society via going through jail or being on Section 8. All right, there is no middle to where you're working and you're able to buy a house. That's out the window. So this American dream has turned to an American nightmare, and it's going to turn to where the love of many is going to wax cold, man, and people shall invade one another. There shall be people working past a dead body because they gotta hit their numbers, man. Everywhere you go, somebody gotta be somewhere at a certain time. They done made cars, so now you gotta commute everywhere 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and you gotta leave the house 30 minutes. You gotta work, 12-hour shifts now. I know job paying well that's gonna pay, heavy work under 12 hours, 10 hours. Then want you to stay and do doubles and shit like that. This place is going to shit, man. All right, hell in a handbag, and ultimately that's going to lead to the MOTB because the system can't uphold itself. So yeah, man, I just wanted to bring that out, man. Like, seeing how the workplace is and the idea of the future of what people can look forward to is going out the window, man. They look out the window, it's darkened. All right, you got to be a sports athlete, a doctor, to live some type of a dream. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a part of 1% in the society, and that's not the dream that they handed out. They told you if you work hard, you go to work every day, you get your education, and you'll be somebody. And that's not the case. And many people gonna find out that MOTB is gonna be the case. So with that being said, I'm gonna give our praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rukal Barakatham, to you Akim, and as well as the innumerable multitude that's following this truth with sincerity. Shalom.